Yeah, folks, joining. See.
Kangaroo. Want a break already? Crazy.
Yeah. Yes, folks, joining us again on all the platforms as we are building up to a pretty decent opposition team. Yeah, we up again. The last stream, of I don't even know if this is the same day because it's over the next day for me at this moment. Yeah,
But see
it's
it.
already it's
Same
already
day for
Sunday.
me. Same
Yeah,
day for
so
me.
this will be the last stream until that. Which game played first tomorrow? The German game. This is the last stream for me, and then it will be the German game. That will be 12 hours from now. So I'm going to have to get myself prepared. Whatever I need to get done after this game early in the Sunday morning around 7, 8 a.m. Get some food, cook or something, get ready for that 1 p.m. Eastern time zone stream. So, folks, as you guys checking in wherever you are, tuning in, we have Facebook, we on YouTube, we on X. So if you come in on X as well, you can click the link around on X and tune in on the YouTube channel and also, subscribe to the channel with various channel that you're clicking on, much love and respect as well. So the Socceroos, the Kangaroos versus Turkiye. Pretty much decent game so far. If you look at it, looking at some of the stats here where nothing much, nothing really spectacular, to be honest. Looking at the water break returning, but Turkey, is on 66% of the ball possession. No real shots on target as yet. 3 touch apiece, touches into the box, no big chances. You can see 73 accurate passes for the Socceroos and 159 for Turkey. So Turkey have a lot of the ball, but no real threat. Yes, no real threat from the Turkey team. Chananogo, kind of playing a little bit deep today as well. Commentators ready to go again right after the water break and the game is on. It's Australia, with that position in the Turkey half. Let's see if they can make something count. But one of the big talking points though, where after getting it, where Beach, the young goalkeeper, as well, playing for Mel, that was almost a half chance. The young goalkeeper, playing local in Australia, for Melbourne Beach, for Melbourne City, Ryan is on the bench. I would like to know what the reason behind that. Ryan is on the bench for Australia. Nowadays, at this time, playing training Levante in Spain. don't really know, much of these player, but Christian,
What a goal by Australia.
yeah, what I mean,
Woo!
the water break. Australia is 1-0 up. What a surprise.
That's a
Australia
surprise.
Australia rank 27 in the world.
That's very high. I
Wow,
think that's
Turkey.
very high.
Australia rank 27 in the world.
I think that's a very high.
Yeah, so Australia, 1, Turkey 0. Very shocking move as well. It's a very decent Australian team. It's a very decent team. They have some players playing in some very good leagues. If you look at it, very good league. But Torre, I think he's from Watford. My memory serves me right. A ball
Yeah.
play over the top. Just 2 minutes post water
Relatively
break.
right in the back of the neck.
Is it Watford or Norwich he play for?
Oh, the goal scorer.
Yeah, he play for Norwich.
Orange. One play for,
Yeah,
I think the striker played for Norwich, and then the winger, Ira Kandu, play for Watford. 20-year-old, you know.
yeah. You can see the shocking looking on the Turkey face as well.
Yeah. I think the top teams in this tournament gonna have their have it cut out. They're gonna have to come up and play some real good football, because this is not gonna be a pushover where you just come up and turn up and just win games. You're gonna have to really play really good to get any results
Yeah.
in this World Cup. No team is pushover like one time again.
No real pushover. Well, yeah, let's see how my mic kind of so. Yeah, I saw a bit, I know. But yeah, as I was saying, let's see how this one really finish in the first half, 45. So we just around over 45, just over 50% of the first half. But let's see how the Turkey team react and how the Australian team defend their goal.
It's morning in Australia right now, right?
Yeah, it's like roughly around, I would say probably around
Ooh, what a
9,
save!
10, 9, 10 years old. Yeah, that's
This is one thing. One thing I have to say though. No game I've disappointed so far in this World Cup. I ain't
no.
gonna lie. Every game has been really good so far
Yeah.
in this World Cup. And doesn't matter who is playing. Like people might look at Australia, Turkey, easy 4-0 for Turkey. No. Every game have been very impressive.
Yeah, definitely.
Keeper did got something on that. That's a good strike and a good save.
I'm glad. I'm so happy I'm not the only one see that handball from.
In the 80 game.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one see that handball. That's a rob, man. Not it's all over Twitter at this moment. So happy I'm not the only one see that one. Yeah, Turkey need to react perfectly well, because looking in Group D, they have US men's national team and Paraguay next, as the next game for Turkey will be against Paraguay, and the next game for US will be Australia. The Socceroos is at it again versus the US men's national team, the Yanks. No, the Australia team are a pretty decent team, if you look at it, but wasn't expecting this start. But this is a start, a young team would really want, to get, not so much of these players have a taste of playing in the World Cup. But the legendary goalkeeper Matt Ryan, is on the bench. Yeah, Turkey is trying to find their way just behind this deep Australian defensive line. You can see the man up front who got the goal, Torre. The distance sometimes with him and the midfield line, it's a bit of a distance if you look at it. Now they're dropping very deep into their defensive third, trying to close things up, trying to close out this first half, going into the locker room with a 1-0 advantage up over a magnificent young Turkey team, who's qualifying for the World Cup for the third time in their history. And it was a long boot up the pitch back to the Turkish goalkeeper. And the Socceroos taking their time to get out of a hole in the defensive third. It's coming back again out on that right hand side from the Turkish player. But again, back in the hands of the young Melbourne City goalkeeper, Beach. But Turkey job will be cut out for them. I think this will test the quality of a very, decent proposition team, Turkey. Really want to see what this, Turkey team made up of, to be honest. There's so many, talking point around this Turkey team, how much, Arda Gula, can be a game difference. So you're looking at, Actor Glue, the Fenerbahce man up front, Kakstru, Yilmaz, Gula, Chalanoglu, Silik, Demarial, Bardaki. I think this is a very, nice looking setup of a starting level for, Turkey. Vincenio Montella, who's the head coach. So in 35th minute of the first half, and it's Turkey are going down that left hand side, and it's another half chance squander again from the Turkish. This goalkeeper better be careful of the time wasting, slightly wasting a bit of a moments, trying to take at least a few seconds off the clock. They're actually looking very comfortable, on the ball whenever they get deep into the Turkish backline. They are doing a lot of running. Look very mobile of a team. Normally have not so much of speedy players, in the past of Australia, but seems like they have a bit of a pace about them where they can break the team down on both sides.
Australia a very good team. Very surprising. I've watched them in a long time.
Yeah, this is
Very
the
good
first
team.
time watching Australia in a very, very, very long time. I think, that number five boss, yeah, one of their key players, that was a very decent save as well. I mean, the
What happened to
time,
Yildiz? Is Yildiz on the bench?
yeah, Yield is out on the left hand side. He's just not in the game.
No, that's Yames, not Yildiz. Yildiz from Juventus.
Oh,
That's not
you
Yildiz.
said Yildiz.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Yildiz on the bench.
Wow, that's a very heavy touch. See, because this is going to be a very interesting battle. Very interesting battle. Oh, the game. I know we started the stream a bit late, but minutes running by so fast. On this Turkey team.
Half time already. Crazy.
Yeah, it's just almost half time. Just around 5 minutes left in the end of the first half. Everyone on the stream. Where you watching? And Daniel, X account, the Nicardo Media House X account. We're also streaming on YouTube, Nicardo Media House YouTube channel, and also the Daniel Football Talk YouTube channel, the Nick and Dan podcast YouTube channel. So in total, we have just around 320 of you guys watching on multiple different platforms as well. Much appreciate your service, as this is a new day for me. It's already Sunday, 12:41 a.m. at this time. Just 12 I'm just over 12 hours of the next kickoff. Curacao versus Germany. Yes, Curacao versus Germany. Another 4 game. My goodness, what a marathon run. So if you haven't follow the outlet of Nicardo Media's X our Daniel X account, you can do so by click the follow button as well. See him on all the platforms where you're watching. Also, you can share the content as well. We can watch a game as one big happy family. As this is throughout the entire World Cup campaign where you continue to get the stream on all these accounts right across the major social media platforms. Yeah, so at this given moment, Arda is getting on the ball, but there's not much. And the Australian team, they are picking their moment, especially when they get the ball in the opposition half. They're not a team just sitting back. Yeah, they are giving a bit of attacking plays as well. They have a few shots, on target.
Turkey on the attack. Not a good ball.
Yeah, it was a sloppy turnover by the Australian team, and Turkey never make use of it. Sloppy play as well, but very good well clearance by the Australian team, as they call him in cricket, the Aussies. But it seems like the Australia team is playing in a maybe have a 5-4-1 setup, that big, long 5 men in the back line and a 4 midfielders. And Torre, man who scored the goal, the lone striker who's currently playing for Norwich. Very good 1v1 battle out there on that right back side. You have the Australian team. It's a lot of Australian. I know Australia, is a good travel team as well. Yeah, it's late getting to that.
Playing in Canada.
Yeah, it's playing in BC, Vancouver. Very beautiful city as well.
Vancouver and California have the same time.
Yeah, it is the west side of Canada, so it just right around the corner from Seattle, Oregon, around that side. Washington State, they're right on the edge of the West Coast time zone. So it's probably roughly around 4 hours from Seattle, Oregon, around that side to get into Canada. It's not a long.
He causing a lot of problem. This number 17 guy.
Yeah, he's definitely.
Turkey have been poor.
So it wasn't the number 9 score. Oh yeah, it is a 17. Yes, it's not Torre's score. It's not Torre. It's not Torre. Maya, apology for that incorrect statement. But one thing I have to say, man, certain part, especially where I went, in Canada, in Toronto, it's a very nice, clean city as well. Get the opportunity to drive, through Vancouver, another clean city around the British Columbia side as well. I love to visit Canada a lot more. I would love the opportunity. I think it's a nice place, but not nice to be in the winter though. It's a bit too cold.
Yeah, and they have a lot of winter more than warm time.
Yeah, their winter is very long. Their winter is very long, especially in Alberta, Canada. When you look around those places in the early October into November, it's already started to get a lot of snow. So sometimes in the deep winter, you will probably get roughly around 10 to 15 inch of snow on a regular day, in Alberta. But I can't deal with that, But the game, Turkey trying their best, but this Australian team decided that they want to go into the break with leading 1-0 as well. It'll be a good They are good scoreline. It will bring out a lot of good plays. Players going to have to go into their playbook into the second half, to get the equalizer for the Turkiye team. But if Australia can hold on to this result going into the first half, this will be massive for them. As you can, you see the young kids on the screen looking at themselves on the big screen at BC Place in Vancouver. But very interested to see how this team will come out in the second half, because I'm telling you, man, in the fan in around the fans, the Turkish, they are not looking happy. You see every time when the camera goes on a Turkish fan, they are just shaking their head, wondering what is happening. This is not what they used to. They are not to expect, in the World Cup.
Yeah. I think they're gonna have to bring on Yildiz to come in and try something a little bit different on that left hand side.
I mean, they will probably change up a few things in this team.
Ooh.
But Gula looked very, very busy in the middle of the pitch, but not much of creating big opportunities, for the Turkey team. More of getting the balls, across the pitch, square passes, not, real penetration, towards.
Very easy to defend.
Yeah, it's very easy. It's very organized. From Australia, you have.
Now, this is how you play a bank of five in the back line. This is how you play. I don't know what South Africa was trying to do. This is how you play a bank of
But
five.
the silly thing is,
Look at the five defenders in the back line, organizing. They're looking across themselves, making sure that they're not, you know.
they are also the five at the back. They're just shuffling across each time the ball goes on each wing. They're just shuffling across, in order. But the big difference is like Australia have more attacking players playing in the left wing back and the right wing back, rather than the South African team. Both wing backs just could not attack. As the referee blew that whistle signal of the end of the first half, massive, massive result. Massive result if you're an Australian fan.
Yeah. What do you pronounce that? Kandu?
I don't know if I will try and pronounce it. It's a very Arankanda. I think Arankanda, something like that. I need to listen to the radio because my TV's on mute. So I need to listen to the radio to get some coverage in. So it's halftime, folks. 1-0 to the Socceroos. Much surprising one as well. 1-1. I expect maybe it will go 1-1 at the end of the second half. Not sure, but I'm just having a feeling that Turkey will find a way. But you never can say never, during a World Cup game. Just, looking at the squad. Looking at some of the heat map of, the three center half, and you can see Alessandra, Siricati, seems like he have Italian descent just by that name. Playing for Parma, age 22, is a bit mobile, stretching his legs out on that left-hand side in that left center-back position. It seems like he's picking up very good position based on his heat map as well. Let's look at Sutter, the captain, the leader. currently play, Leicester, but he's more centrally as he should be as the middleman in that back three. Borges, very experienced campaigner as well. You could see that centrally, he's not really coming centrally. It's all covered centrally from Sutter. Cameron Borges is just picking up some very good position in the left hand side of that left center back position as well. Looking at one of the star man Bass playing in the Eredivisie League for Feyenoord. Not so much in the attacking, managed to get forward, but majority of his heat map is sitting deep, sitting very deep in his half, closing up things. Look at Engstler, in the midfield, man that play for Sydney FC, looking more to sit in the old as a double pivot, getting forward a few times. I remember a few times he get on the ball in the attacking third, but I think he kind of misplaced one of those passes. Could have easily just slid through, to Torre in that number 9 position. But as others from that, he didn't really, get in the game on the attacking side, but managed to get on the ball, a few times. Yeah. And I think with all the Australian players on the pitch, I think, he has touched the ball a lot of times. O'Neill in the middle of the park as well. A little bit more advanced, in his gameplay, but not really impacting anything in the attacking third. And you could see the crowd is going wild in Australia. It is 2:27 at this moment in Australia. So it's just around 14, 15 hours ahead of the Eastern time zone. Yeah, so Metcalf, here on this right hand side, playing for St. Pauli in the German Bundesliga. What's that? Bundesliga 2. In the Bundesliga. Yeah, I forgot St. Pauli is in the Bundesliga. But others from that, man, um, Australia should be proud. Australia should be proud. This was a start that they, dream, and the fans, could see. And if you watching the US coverage, you could see that the fans were going wild. But one of the positivity, they're not allowing this Turkey team, to get too much opportunity, to do anything. Because they are sitting so deep at times, it's and that's the goal right there from the Watford man. It was a very good taking goal as well. The keeper thought he was going to place that ball left side of him, but he tricked him, go to the near post. That's the right side of the post. And the fans were going crazy in Australia, in Sydney as well. Looking at back some highlights, number 14 for Turkiye, what a wonderful shot as well. The number 14 was, Bardeki, the left center back. He couldn't believe that the keeper got a touch on it. He was just really thought that would have been in the back of the net. Oh, he struck that ball very powerfully. But at this moment, Australia will be on 3 points with the US men's national team. Is it early to call? Because this will be a massive result if this Australia team can get something out of this game. But next up in line will be the US men's national team. So this game is very important for this Australia team. Very important. Because you're looking at what the US bring to the party in their last game. If they manage to pull off something close to that, Australia will be in deep problem. Even though it's not a given or a guarantee that they will hit the same heights, but you want to think that this US team coming up against Australia, it would be something similar what they did to Paraguay. So it will depend on what a Borges, Sutter, or say Sirkati will do at the back line for this Australia team. But I think they just need to create a bit more centrally, for the Fenerbahce player up front playing in the number 9 position. I think they need to create more centrally going forward. Let's look at some of the stats at this moment. The stats is all over in the favor of Turkey. In the expected goals is a bit higher in the favor of Australia. Total shot is 4-10 in Turkey favor, 2 apiece shots on target, touches in the box. Turkey 11, Australia 7. Big chance, and that is the big moment that put Australia ahead in the game. Accurate passes 123 at 79% for the Socceroos. Also, the accurate passes for Australia, it will be 331 with a 91%. They're fairly passing the ball with some very 5-10 yards pass, from the Turkey team. But that's some of the major stats around the game. The one time the Turkey team hit the woodwork as well. Shots inside of the box, 5 for the Turkey team and 3 for the Australian team. Shots outside the box, 1, for the Socceroos and 5 for the Turkey team as well. But we expect big things to coming up in that second half as well. You could see that, with the tackles, Australia have a bit more of a stronger unit getting in the foot stuck in versus the Turkey team. 2 interception by the Australian team and 1 so far for the Turkey team, as they really ask less to do in the defensive third of their team. Sort of I'm keep talking about South Africa. The Australian team. The Australian team needs to continue with that same style of play, not sitting too deep. It's been too negative where you don't want to attack. They still need to get on the football, still need to keep them shape without the ball, and they still need to be a little bit more vibrant going into that second half as well, where you want to ask questions from this Turkey team. You scored a goal, you slit them open. Kudos. Can you capitalize on that? Are you going to close out the second half just like how Scotland did in that second half versus a very decent 80 team on the day?
Yeah, I think that this Australia team gonna give. Um, I don't want to be ahead of myself and think that they're gonna win this game, but they're in a very good position to close out this game and to go into that US game. You get what I'm saying? But so far, what we see in this game, they're gonna really be a much better than Paraguay. That's for sure, especially defensively, because what Paraguay was doing in that game, they were all over the place. You get what I'm saying? So I see a positive thing. I like the bunker five, and that's what you play when you're playing a back five. That's how you play it. You get what I'm saying? Nothing coming through. All the 5 defenders is working together. You get what I'm saying? So USA gonna have to really, really play really good to beat this team. But that being said, we don't know what's gonna happen in the second half. But I expect the same from Australia though. Same the bank up 5, hitting on the break. I just think Turkey gonna have to up them levels, and as I said, I think they're gonna bring on Yildiz. I think he's, for me, one of their best players, or maybe even their best player. So I'm surprised he's not started. You get what I'm saying? But it's been a very decent game so far. Let's see.
Tomorrow is the big game. Curacao,
Yes.
another Caribbean team, play a mighty European team, the team from Germany.
How did Vinicius get man of the match?
I don't know, man. I think the man of the match should have gone to probably
18 years.
Budai in the midfield
Yeah.
for Turkey. For what's this? Yeah, I think the six, the guy that played for Lille, the 18-year-old, and I think he had a shot. But scoring a goal as well, is always that tiebreaker that will get you a award, in any game, man after match, player after game, whatever it is, MVP. Guys, look, when you scored, I think you should get reward. Sometimes that will also erase, your bad performance as well. People will not look at your bad performance. You could imagine if Vinicius didn't scored in this game today versus Morocco. That have been much of a talking point or poor of a player he was in that game.
Yeah.
So each and everyone, on the stream at this moment, don't forget to follow whatever platform you're watching on as well. Much appreciate you guys. Yeah. We are streaming on three different platforms, so Facebook, YouTube, and X. Also, streaming on both of our individual, YouTube platform, the X platform as well. So wherever you are, watching, it's just over
Yeah, beautiful.
500. It's just over 559 of you guys watching the stream at this moment
It's
on
gotta
various
be it's
platforms.
gotta be these people from Australia watching this thing.
So if you're from Australia, watching the stream, shout out, in the comment section and let me know where you're watching. Yeah.
This should reach over 1,000 impression on Twitter already. That's crazy. Over
Yeah. So
2,000.
we're getting the stream in, people. We are getting the stream in. Don't forget, you can always clock in on whatever platform you follow us on. We will always streaming whatever game it is. Currently is 1 a.m. my time at this moment. Currently is 10 p.m. It's Saturday night in Daniel neck of the woods. Meanwhile, it is early in the early hours of the night in my neck of the woods, on the south side of America, while Daniel is located somewhere around on the bay on the west coast. But I wanna look at some of the fixtures leading up to this particular game for the Aussies. They would have been Curacao. I remember that result where they smashed them a piece 5-0. This Australia team drew with Switzerland in a friendly game. What is it clicking on that? Got beaten 1-0. In Mexico versus Australia. They would have played. Come on. Why is it the foot mob is really acting up this way? Looking at the World Cup qualifying AFC, this Australia team beat Japan, beat Saudi Arabia. So it's a good team in them. Seems like there's a very positive, good team in them. Remember when a few World Cup back in the days, watching Australia team, likes of Tim Cahill in the team as well. Viduka, some veteran players of the past, the Socceroos. I know there's somewhere around the world watching their beloved Australia at this moment. But
Team KL.
on the 19th, the Socceroos will come up against the US men's national team. Think that game should be in Seattle. Yes, that will be in Seattle as well. And then, the US will go back on the West Coast. So, look, Australian fans, if you're watching on the stream, you will be going to a very strong hold of US football in Seattle. A city that, really, really loves, their football. As, Seattle MLS team is one of the most followed team in the MLS as well. Not the one of the most followed team. Very strong hold of US football as well. You could look at the past history of that city, what the connection it brings. to football, very rich. So the start of the second half just began in a few minutes ago. So let's clock in back again. 27th minute was the first goal of the game, and that's the only goal. Let's see if we will have any goals in this second half. And the Turkey team, started on the front foot, looking nice and slow and sharp in the attacking third, trying to break down a big, tall barrier for Australian back five and the midfield four.
Australia on the top. Play.
One thing I like, with the Australian team, is so quick of how they attack.
Attacking. Yeah, attacking really good.
And if you look at the number 5, which is the left back, you have never seen that in the last game that South Africa played.
17, fast. Number 17.
The Bass, the man that's playing for Feyenoord in the Eredivisie League, look at how fast he's breaking out on that left-hand side. That's something I think if you want to play 5 at the back with 2 wing players, that's one of the DNA. You have to have wing backs that willing to go forward, really can get out of the blocks quick, willing to to put in some overlap shift as well. You have to sacrifice a lot just by getting out in that space. So it was a very deep corner, but it was a very deep shot into the Aziz fan. I guess he want to give his fan a few football kicking the ball in the Australian fan zone.
Australia is unbeaten in the last 9 matches when they're leading at halftime.
Yeah.
That's a very good
It's just like Switzerland today. You have never lost a game when scored first in the World Cup in the World Cup itself. But they managed and to escape not getting the full 3 points, getting a point against. I want to say, I don't know what Qatar was trying to do, to be honest. I know, look, Julian, what's the coach name, again for Qatar? Julian Lopetegui. I don't know what he was trying to do with that Qatar team. Very good team, in Asia, but just for some reason, seeing them a few times, especially play in the region of the CONCACAF, coming up against the likes of Mexico and the US.
Ooh, Turkey turning up the pressure now.
Is it where the Turkish decide that it's time to put the pressure on? Did the Turkey players get some kebab chicken in the dressing room? They're turning up.
This is Vancouver Stadium?
Yeah, this is BC Place, Vancouver Stadium. Don't forget to follow and subscribe whatever platform you're streaming on as well. You could imagine if the FIFA World Cup was playing on an artificial turf, like what was in this current stadium before they laid the grass.
But why I don't understand. Why didn't just continue with original grass? Why they
I don't know.
Science behind that, they refuse.
I don't know if it's the cold. I don't know. I'm just assuming. I don't know why Vancouver Whitecap Stadium is an artificial turf. I don't know.
But I don't think it would even make sense on the cold, because when it's cold, the ground get freeze, right? And that's not a good. Who's that? Igizela. No, that's not Igizela. I have no idea that. Got to be some Australian superstar. I thought it was Igizela, the rapper from Australia. But I don't understand. You can put original grass on the field for a World Cup, but yes, you're gonna remove it.
So
Just make no sense.
Vancouver BC Place utilized artificial turf primarily because of its rectangular roof, closed dome roof, block the natural sunlight and airflow requires to grow and maintain a healthy live grass. Synthetic turf guarantees 1 year durability for multiple sports, following its withstand high volume use without getting ruined by Vancouver heavy wet winter rain. So I don't it's you hear that? So the the choice of surface at BC Place at this stadium currently at this moment, home to Vancouver Whitecaps FC and BC Lions, comes down to several key factors. Closed roof limitation. The stadium retractable roof is frequently closed during the inclement weather without adequate sunlight and natural ventilation. A grass pitch would quickly die or become unplayable. So you hear it right there why they.
That's a lot of details. That's a
Yeah,
lot of.
it has to be
Oh, the
some.
goal! Oh, what a save from the goalkeeper.
It has to be of the cold climate. I didn't even know there's different sporting team played at BC Park, but there's so much detailing on why they have to play on turf. But Seattle as well. Seattle play on turf in the MLS.
Yeah,
Let's
they've
see
been doing
what
that
is
for
the
years.
reason behind and why Seattle play on turf. So it says, the Lumen Field, home to the Seattle Seahawks and FC Sounders,
Sarah, who is that?
uses artificial turf primarily because it's far more durable, cost, and effective to maintain given the heavy rain and relentless multiple purpose event schedule. Natural grass is difficult to sustain in Seattle climate and cannot withstand hosting both NFL and a soccer simultaneously. Reason for using artificial turf includes the weather resistance, multi-purpose scheduling, maintenance, and cost. So you hear it right there. I don't know which other stadium in the MLS you use artificial trying to figure out, but yeah, that's it right there. I think New England Revolution, and maybe because of um the NFL team, the weather over on that side, close
I
to
think
Boston. So
I
I guess
think
it's a similarity for most of the clubs in the MLS and
I think it
why.
was a lot more in the 2000 too. And remember we was watching the MLS and they were using a lot of those NFL field with the same lines that was on the field back in the day when MLS.
Yeah.
So I think they're starting to. I think a lot of teams now start to have their own stadium and building having actual real grass to play at the field. You know what I'm saying? But Australia. Australia been really good in this game. I ain't gonna lie. It's a poor giveaway. Ah, it's a poor giveaway right there. That's not the place they want to give away a free kick. Channel logo at the door. That's not the place they want to give her a free kick.
That was a decent opportunity. It's getting a bit uncomfortable, after sitting here for majority of the day doing streams. It's a bit
What a save.
it's a bit uncomfortable, man. Yeah, it's a very good save. I think he packed that one as wide as he can, not to allow anyone centrally to get to pounce on that ricochet ball as well. You know, Turkey is not a team that you really want to play with. A lot of free kicks around that 18-yard box. They have players that can hit it with the left foot, players that can hit it with the right foot. So it's something that to be concerned about if he's an Australian player. But I just think Australia is going to continue to play that same game. The patient game. Wait for this Turkey team to turn over the ball. And you could see the Australian team, is just playing out short, use the defenders to hit those long balls as well. So very direct plays, trying to catch this Turkey team over the top, but it's going to be a difficult one. The Australian fans, they are so much around at BC Park at this moment, looking at their beloved Socceroos in the yellow top, green shorts, and white socks. Can they withstand all of this threat? Can they get the best of this Turkey team? Just 2 minutes before we goes into the last 30 minutes of this second half, and will be the end after this 30 minutes as well. A long all 4 match streaming, for us. So get myself a nice shower and get myself in bed, rest up, ready for tomorrow. Day as well, ready to stream, ready to see what the Ecuadorian team versus Ivory Coast, known as Cote d'Ivoire.
That's gonna be a very high energy game.
Yes, I think that the game that's going to be. I remember if that game is going to be in Atlanta. That game will be in Philadelphia. There will be a game in Atlanta. Houston will host Curacao. Netherlands and Japan will be in Arlington. Also in Monterrey, Sweden will play
Ishmael,
Tunisia. Then on Sunday we see the European champion play in Atlanta, Spain versus Cape Verde. Saudi Arabia will play Uruguay in Miami. So on Friday and Sunday, Monday, also the entire week will definitely be a 4 match day. I mean, I'm not sure. I'm going to manage all of this. Yeah, but during the week, it's going to be crazy. Yeah, it's going to be crazy, man. Yeah, well, I'm looking at the game, but I believe Turkey needs to start to use up the wing plays a little bit more, where they can try to get a break in the middle of the park, because it's very compact and clustered up in the middle of the park for the Socceroos. I think the goal scorer is coming off. He has run his socks off. The man that's played for Watford, he has run his socks off, and I think he deserves a standing ovation from the Socceroos fans in the stadium. You could see very much applauding by his teammates and coaching staff on the bench. But let's see who is coming in for him. Can keep up that standard, because he have set a very good template, for his team to finish off this game. But it's all about his teammates that will finish the last 30 minutes in this game. I mean, if this result stand, this will be the surprising result of this World Cup campaign so far. We'll see what happened as well in BMO, in Toronto, Canada versus Bosnia, where Crawl himself, out of a disappointed game, turned into a very good point.
I think the Switzerland game also was a very big
Yeah, I think
big
Switzerland
game.
as well, allowing Qatar, to get that late goal. That's a very poor result as well. you allow, a bit of a time for the Canadian team, to a bit of a respite, knowing that, Switzerland drop points, so it's still possible that they can tap the zone. A midfield change. Another game changing substitution for Turkey with just three change left back.
You know, like a bit. Hmm? Somewhere there.
Wow.
Turkey really have to try something different. They're doing the same thing over and over and over. They gotta start doing something different. I
Yeah.
don't think you're gonna break down this Australia team like this.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to break down this Australia team.
Australia defenders are so tall. They're like 6 feet, all of them. So swinging the ball in the box like doesn't even make any sense. It's a very decent left back right there, boss. All
Yeah,
right.
play. Yeah, I think he's a very attacking fullback. Yeah, he's one of the marquee players, very key players as well. Look at how he's sprinting forward. He's giving them the outlet on that left hand side.
Poor pass.
I think the Turkish team is running out of idea.
Yeah, they are.
I think this Australian team looks a bit if it's a very well organized.
Machine.
No, yeah, they seems like they know exactly what to do. Every time this Turkey team turn over the ball, there's a certain way and a ways on the pitch where they're going to run, they're going to pass it, in that direction, and they know exactly which one of the players on the move, to give him, and that player is the outlet. So there is an understanding, between the 11 players on the pitch at this moment, and it doesn't matter who gets on the pitch. It's like it's already drilled in this Australian team. Like, look, this is the way we're going to play, and this is how we're going to get the best out of each other on the pitch. And this Turkey team, they're just passing the ball square. There's no real movement. There's no real width in this game. They're not shifting the ball, enough, right across this
Tur-
Australian team where it's quick, where they can, displace some of these Australian players in possession.
I'm not cutting you, but do you think? Because I know us. Do you think if Turkey would have definitely take a hydration break right now, knowing that they're not going to get it anywhere? Because I feel like I think it at the time where they normally take the hydration break, and
Yeah.
Turkey doesn't look like they're going anywhere at all. But if I was Australia, I would want to continue playing because you don't want to mess up that momentum in that defensive move that you're doing. What time we normally get the hydration? Right? It says 70 minutes. I think it's
Yeah,
70.
somewhere around the 78th minute, halfway point of the 45 minute.
They did bring on Yildiz. He's on the left side. Ooh, all right. Poor. I think the striker tired enough. You need to make a change.
Yeah, I think you have done a lot of running. Yeah, it's done a lot of running.
Hydration break.
I think this is a well needed, respite for this Turkey team. I think they need to sort out certain things tactically. They need to just figure out how, they can get behind this Australia team in the last, 15, 20 minutes left back in the game. If not, they're going to find themselves, plunging themselves a big deep hole to get out of, of losing the first game versus a team that, they expect to beat. But there's no given, nothing doesn't hand down to you, in the game of football, especially in the World Cup where everyone is looking for the headline. Every player is looking to get a goal as well. It's either your first goal or scoring a second goal, just to be a hero on the day for your national team. So let's see how they will react after the hydration break.
Yo, fix that thing there. Tim on click on something.
I don't like what I'm really seeing on the stream at this moment, where seems a bit blurry. Think I try to see get in it. So getting it, everyone. Respect wherever you are in the world at this given moment. So we are up for the last segment. You know, football has come to a part where it's four stages: two break of hydration, and
It's like a
halftime.
timeout.
It's just as the NBA. It's like from minute 1 to around minute 25. Right there is the first quarter, and then the second quarter is from the 27th minute to the 45 and beyond, whatever extra time it is. And then you have the halftime break, then the third quarter, the fourth quarter. That's so it seems like the game has been segment out, where you have tactical break. I see this hydration break is more of a tactical approach. Give teams
Yeah, timeout.
a
A
bit of a
timeout.
time to to reshape, rethink, hydrate themselves, get those body, enough fluid where they can actually go again and start to run, penetrate the opposition team. But the Turkey team, they need something going, man. They need something going. This is a very, very surprise. That's a very good play, out there on that left hand side for the Turkey player, the knock number 11.
That's the elders.
Yeah, they are using up that left hand side.
What a save by the Australia goalkeeper.
Yeah, that's a beautiful save. Wow.
Nice. All right. Brilliant save.
The Australian fans are pumping the fist in the air. Another substitution, coming in for this Australian team, looking to solid and shore up things at the back.
Goal! 2-0 Australia.
Yeah,
Brilliant goal.
yeah, I just saw it now. Yeah, man, just saw it. Very good, very, very good, very good. I mean, look, this.
It's gonna be a
I
performance
think
for
I
Australia.
think this goal. I think this goal can easily put the Socceroos into the knockout round. Easily, if they win this game 2-0, easily can put them in.
Well,
Yeah. And it's very happy moment at this time if you is an Australian fan watching this game, whether you in Melbourne, whether you in Perth, whether you in Sydney, wherever you are in the world, are you at the Gabba watching your beloved Australia? But whatever is happening on the pitch, it is real. Australia
yeah.
2, Turkiye 0. And it's a wonderful taken shot. Wow. Wow. Deep into the second half, just a few minutes after that second hydration break, Australia find themselves 2-0 up in Wonderland, looking up in the heaven, wondering, did the football gods give us this big opportunity to beat a fantastic Turkey team that looking at a new generations of talent coming through? Is this too young for these Turkish players? But
You know what's crazy? You know, a lot of people probably not tune into this game because they saw this game and see brilliant performance from Australia. You
I
know,
think it's a brilliant game. I think it's worth staying up to watch, to be honest.
yeah.
Metcalf, scored. I think it's a game that worth staying up. I was watching a bit of mainstream media in England, and a lot of the pundits said they're not staying up to watch this game. It's too late. No, it's too early in the morning. So it's too early in the morning. After they have to stay up that late to watch a very poor performance from a Scottish team. They said they're not going to watch this game. That could easily, check for a handball. Then let's see.
And that's too close. very close to the player. Ah, what a save on the goalkeeper. Ooh, that should have been a goal.
I mean, Turkey is asking the questions of what more can they do in this game? What more can they do in this game? You know, to get something from it. What more can they do as a team? So the player that scored the first goal, for the Aziz, 20-year-old, Nestorai, Aran Kuda, born in a refugee camp in Tanzania to a Burundian parents, has become Australia's youngest ever goal scorer at the FIFA World Cup. The beautiful stories that only football can bring continuing at the global event, the FIFA World Cup in Mexico, US, and Canada. So that's another big, big moment again for the Socceroos.
Yeah, it's a handball, but that was very too close to the player. There's no way the referee can give a hands for that. It's too close. You can't do nothing about that. Soccer rules with another corner. Get a set piece. See if we can get another goal. With a timing and everything. I like that the referee always on the scene when the ball about to go in the back of the net with that with
The
the ref
referee
cam.
cam.
Yeah.
That's that. I think he positioned very well. Well, I don't know how much this Turkey team, can do. They just a bit confused, to me. They just passing the ball around with real no plan, no synergy, no real good approach. They just knocking it around, hoping for the best. I'm not sure it's working. I'm not sure this is working. I just think the back five, the four midfielders in front, is just too difficult for this Turkey team. Just too difficult to break down.
Yeah. Hey, hey, leave it.
Wow. Turkish players seems like they need some kebab chicken. They need some of that lamb meat that the Moroccans eat earlier, to play very good football. They just don't seems like a team in the second half to me. I'm expecting them to come out much better in the second half, but they just controlling the ball in the mid third, and that was it. Really failed to create some very clear opportunity. They're not pulling these. You have to pull these players. Apart from them sitting deep, you have to pull them out. You have to come up with a plan. So let's see. If this Australian coach will create some type of a history right here. Beating a very good Turkey team. Nah, it's just not working. I think this is a beaten Turkey team, but free kick.
And the Gular, Chananoglu. Ooh, some decent free kick. Ooh, that's a foul. I ain't gonna lie, Australia player is very fast. These players are very fast.
Yeah. You realize they took out the player, the starting left back, and
Yeah.
they're still getting the pace and energy out on his left hand side. Eunice Acton. Quite a few, of these players for Australia, like have dual citizenship with other different countries, but I just think they recruit very well. To be honest, this is a very good team. I've seen in their build up as well in the AFC qualification they beat Japan. It's not easy, to beat a Japan team in qualification round. So that will tell you that this team have a bit of a quality about them. That's like a nice little pattern of play, for the Turkey team. You could see how they move the ball really quick, and it caused a bit of a upstairs, in the back line of the Australia team, where they just shift the ball from central midfield to the wing and get it back inside. So there was like a little mini tactical approach where I think that's what they were trying to do all the time in the second half, but it just wasn't working. But in to play these games just like that, you have to pass the ball very quickly. You have to have a lot of running off the ball, and I'm just wondering that there's no real quality midfielders in this Turkey team. This is the thing in this World Cup. If you don't have players in the midfield to run, it's just going to be a long day for you. Because if you come up against a team that willing to run, willing to have youth, in the middle of the park,
Yeah.
have competent player, quality wise, I think it will give you a massive shout because everyone expecting the US men's national team and Turkey to be on 3 points. No, it is Australia setting up themselves with two clear goal, 2+ goal difference. And if you look at some of the games that will play, end of match day 3 of the group stage, how many of the teams that finish in third going to win a game with 2+ goal? That will give you some leverage. You just have to not to go in the other games to get beaten badly, by the bigger teams, where that will raise a bit of an eyebrow whether or not you're going to get one of the best third place. But I just think the last 10 minutes or so, Turkey started to move the ball, slightly different. Moving it with real synergy, a little bit of a
That
conviction.
number six that number six that came on, he's defending really good. He is defending really good. The right back for the Australian team, he's defending really good since he came on.
So we have just 6 minutes left in this second half. Only 6 minutes left for the Socceroos to hold on to. And you could continue seeing the last dagger that nail in the Turkish coffin. I mean, where they go from here? Because wow.
6 minutes to go. I think they do the same play over and over and cutting.
Yeah, I
Through the
think
ball.
they I
They're
think
doing the
they're trying
same thing
to
over
I
and
think they're
over and
trying
over.
their best to perfect that style of pattern, but
I don't think I already said I don't think those crosses in the box is gonna do anything. I think this Australia team is so tall and they're gonna clear all those
yeah,
balls
because
all
when you
day.
look at players like Borges, Sutter, they all experienced players have played in England, and they're very big, they're strong, and they will defend very good all day with direct passes.
Immoral, go away. You're gonna get yourself a yellow card. referee give the goal kick. So that last game against USA with Australia gonna be massive. That last game gonna be massive. Cause we are predict.
Yeah, we predict Australia to have a struggling time in Group D.
We did. We did say they were
Yeah,
the one that coming last.
yeah.
So that prediction is through the door. And I definitely see this as if this is how they're gonna play, I see them beating the Paraguay team for sure.
It's happening. It is happening for the Australian fans. As it's just a few more minutes left. Miss, let make some quick fact check on this Australian team in the World Cup.
Yo, the striker does not get no ball at all. Every one of those balls that they score in the box. All right, ladies. Oh, what a block. What a block from the captain.
So, I'm looking at the history of Australian team in the World Cup where they played 20 games, won 4, drawn 4, and lost 12. Goals for is 17, goals against is 37. So the four teams that the Socceroos have ever beaten in the history of World Cup play in 2006, it was against Japan, 3-1. In 2010, it was against Serbia, 2-1. And in the last World Cup in Qatar, they beat Tunisia 1-0.
Has one a shot, man. One shot, man.
And also get a 1-0 victory against Denmark as well. So that's a very good quick fact check around this Australian team and the amount of games that they won. They came out of Group D last World Cup. They went to the knockout round in the last World Cup where they played the Argentina team and lost 2-1. I know I'm remembering that game.
Yeah, that was a good game.
Yeah, when they have players like, you remember that bald guy Moe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
playing the Premier
And
League.
yeah, and they have a player that used to
Full
play.
time whistle.
Yeah, they have a player that once used to play in the Bundesliga and MLS called Matthew Leckie. So that was a very good team right there. But it's fairly a very bunch of new players in this Australian team, and it is curtains for the Turkey team. Australia, their fifth World Cup win. So you can hear,
Keep on them
they
beach.
beat Tunisia and Denmark last cycle. So they're in their last 4 games in the World Cup, 1-3 and last one. That one was against the world champion. There should be no shame against that as well. So they're beating the team that clearly to be the second favorite behind the US men's national team. So that is it, folks. It's very late, 2 a.m. You might go into early afternoon if you're living anywhere in Australia at this given moment. Lots of journalists in England be waking up soon, hearing a massive, massive result for the Socceroos. You could see the face of Yildiz, listening to the commentary voice of Juan Pablo Angel speaking the post game show with the Nigerian skipper that won the 2013 Afghan Cup, skipped Nigeria team in the World Cup in 2010 in South Africa. But I ain't listening to none of that post game show as I'm just going to take a deep breath, relax, grab a shower, get into bed, prepare for tomorrow. I have just 2 minutes. Yeah, just 2 minutes shy under 12 hours for the next kickoff. That will be it. That will be it, folks. So on the 19th, the Socceroos will come up against the US. Let's see what the Socceroos made up of because interested run. Coming up next week, the 19th will play against the host or the co-host of the World Cup. Now it's recover time. You can look at the former Australian coach, the former Australian player
Who's that
coaching
again?
the team. Pop as a
Who's that
Popovic.
in the black jacket? You look
Oh,
familiar. You didn't
this
see?
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he used to play for Australia.
Look familiar.
He used to play for the Socceroos, doing it as a player, doing it as a coach. Magnificent story headlines in the paper at this moment. The Australian people, watching this game all over Australia, Melbourne, Sydney, you name it. They are up and bouncing at this moment. So everyone on the stream, don't forget to follow wherever you are, on the stream. Much love and respect to you guys. As I'm going to close out the stream at this moment, it's come to an end. Catch you guys later, 12 hours from now, watching that Curacao, the team that got an automatic qualifying spot out of CONCACAF in that famous group, all Caribbean group, where they have Jamaica, Trinidad, and Bermuda. They finish on top of that group to qualify for the World Cup automatically. Will play Germany, the four-time champion, a team that exit the group stage in the last two cycles after winning the World Cup. I've never heard of that before. Will the German exit again? I'm not sure. This group is
Crazy.
too much of this group is too much easy for the Germans to exit the group stage. Then the expansion of the tournament will give a lot of the big boys leverage not to exit the group stage.
Yeah.
A star is born. Scott McTominay ineffective as John McGinn's create history against the Haitian team. So we're going to reflect over the weekend. That will be a couple hours down the line on Sunday. What would have transpired on Saturday. So we're going to get into the podcast. So if you guys willing to support and listen to the Nick and Dan podcast, there's our YouTube channel. You can go on YouTube and you will find it, and Nick Dan podcast. Yeah, it's very simple. And listen to the beautiful chats of what is happening around the game. We break it down a bit more easier, for you guys as well. So anyone is on the stream at this moment, this is it. The Nick and Dan podcast YouTube channel. You can go on it and subscribe to the channel. Would have much appreciated as well. So anywhere you're watching around in the world, Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel.
Yeah. That's crazy. This shit was so funny. Look at this shit. I tell like the oh yes man.
So for the ones watching on the stream,
Ooh, 4 matches. Crazy.
this is the current channel, so go ahead if you want to really support the channel. You'd have much love and respect to you guys as well to support the Nick and Dad podcast YouTube channel. It's right here as well, as we will drop in our daily podcast. Yeah. So, that is it. Much love and respect, to everyone. I really appreciate it, as it's time to move on and it's time to go to bed, get some rest, get ready for that big game tomorrow. Curacao, Little Caribbean Island, for the first time at the big stage, will play the mighty Germany. Can they pull off a shock? That will be the biggest headline in the history of the World Cup. I would be a surprise, man, to see that happen. But the Germans should have something up their sleeve. This World Cup is the World Cup where the Germans should take shame out of their own eyes.
I need Germany, so.
I've never seen a team win the World Cup for the 4th time and bounce out of the group stage in the next 2 cycles.
So I'm Italy. Italy never make it. So Italy have not made it.
Hey,
the last
watch.
2 years straight.
Look.
When I beat Germany, so like Italy. Italy never made
it. Since Italy won the World Cup, Italy have never make it, I think, to the knockout round. I can fact check that real quick. Let's look at 20.
Was that 2010?
Yeah, man, Italy was there, man. Italy finished last in the group with Paraguay, Slovakia, and New Zealand in 2010. And what happened in Brazil? Italy again finished 3rd in a group with Costa Rica, Uruguay, Italy, and England, knocked out of the group stage. So you're looking at Italy as being poorly in the World Cup over the last 5 cycles. Yeah. 2010 in South Africa, no knockout round. 2014 in Brazil, knockout round. 2018, no World Cup. Did they went to Russia?
I don't think so. I don't remember them playing Russia.
So you're looking at the straight 3rd year, Italy is not making it. Let me get back on this stream. Right? This is bad. So we are looking at a team that won the World Cup, beating a French team in the final of 2006. Grosso with that famous penalty kick, winning it for the 4th time for the Italians. And after that, it's just fairly miserably by the Italians. 2010 group stage with Paraguay, Slovakia, New Zealand. My goodness grace. 2010, that was a
That was the last time.
Devastated World Cup in 2010 for them to not to make it to the run of 16. Or the run of 16 of 2010, Slovakia, New Zealand. Oh no, that's dead. And in 2014 in Brazil, they have Costa Rica, Uruguay, and England. Both the mighty England and Italy dropped out of the group stage. In Russia, no Italy. Qatar, no Italy. 2026, Bosnia drive the last nail in an Italian coffin. And then guess what happened? Just days ago, the Italian under-17 team won the UEFA Euro Cup. That's for what? The second time in their history winning the UEFA under-17 tournament. The future is bright for the Italians. Don't worry. Eat some more pizza and pray at the Vatican City and hope for the best. Yeah? See you guys again until next time.